He's like panning around and he gets to me, it's just my ass. Sorry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks again for coming to this week's speech. I'm saddened to say that this will be my last speech. The class is coming to an end, and I just know everyone was enjoying them so much. Anyway, this evening I will be talking about the Electoral College system and its many flaws. I'll be doing this in an effort to help you understand that it is not the right system for America, and we should elect another option, which I will also be discussing. In many instances, our presidential election history, the Electoral College system made many errors in selecting the proper president for the United States of America. To give a real quick overview of how the system works, the number of points allocated to a state depend on two different things. These things are the number of U.S. representatives in the House for that state and the number of senators in that state. But keep in mind that there are always 2 senators per state, no more, no less, regardless of the state's population. The problems with the system are: election of a minority candidate is possible. The weighted voting system causes some votes to count less, and the system depresses voter turnout. Afterwards, after the problems, I will be talking about some solutions or alternatives. The problems are obvious. The first one is that there's a chance we can elect a minority candidate. It's shocking, I know, but it is true. For instance, if one candidate had a very heavy majority in one state, but the opposing candidate had a slim majority in multiple states, there's a high chance that the opposing candidate, the one with the slim majority, will be elected as the president, although he did have less votes because of the high states electoral system. The next problem is the weighted voting system can cause some states to actual votes count for less than another state. But let's take a look at an example for this. Remember, the system works like this. You get 2 electoral votes per senator, which is not populationally controlled, and then you get 2 votes you get votes per members in the House, which is population controlled. That being said, the 7 least populous states in America are Alaska, Delaware, D.C., North Dakota, South Dakota, Vermont, and Wyoming, with a combined population of about 3 million. Together, in 1988, those 7 states had 21 electoral votes, the same amount of electoral votes that Florida had by itself. However, Florida had 6 million more people than those 7 states combined. Therefore, each of Florida's potential votes counted for about 1/3 of a vote in the 7 other states. The third and the final problem is that the electoral college depresses voter turnout because each state will have the same amount of electoral votes regardless of the voter turnout. So a lot of people say, well, my vote never counts because I don't vote for the primary party of this state. Well, that's pretty much why there's no voter turnout and it depresses the voters. It's all fine and dandy to talk about the problems of the system. However, what are some of the solutions? For starters, we could run off of a system called proportional allocation, which instead of giving 0% of the electoral votes of a state to a candidate that won 15 or 30%, we could give him 15 or 30% of the electoral votes from that state. This would cause actual votes to count for a change. The next solution is just a simple direct voting majority rules. Direct voting is the basic principle of the majority wins, and there would be no electoral system, only straight votes. Therefore, a third-party candidate that drew 25% of the national vote would be accurately represented on a national scale. The final solution is something called the National Bonus Plan, which would give bonus points to the winner of the national majority, and that bonus points depends on how much of a majority he won by. Now, this problem would only fix one of the main problems, which is the minority candidate could win, it would only fix that problem. We would still be using the electoral system, so the weighted vote problem and voter turnout problem would still be present. I do not hold any political office, nor do I ever want to. However, I strongly believe that there are alternatives to the currently flawed system of electoral college. I want to make it clear that many times a president has been elected on a minority vote, and that should just not happen. I hope I have garnered your support for a national change to this system. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.